Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we'll be writing the code which we have left out in the previous tutorial. So in the previous tutorial we have created this simple layout for our application in which we have an image here and we had a bunch of options to select from this menu right here. Now the thing was that we actually had various options here, but when we clicked them nothing happened, and the main reason for that is we have not yet added the listeners for these options so that when one of them is selected something should happen. So the next thing which we need to do is that we need to add action listeners to these things so that on selecting the option something should happen. So in order to do that, we switch to this main activity.java class, and inside this class the first thing which we need to do is that we need to delete the toolbar. So once we have deleted the toolbar, the next thing which we need to do is that we actually need to add an action listener to it. Now in order to add an action listener, what we do is that we type adapter view, and inside it we are going to use the method which is called as on item click listener. So we type on item click listener, and after adding the item click listener we need to create its object. So we type item click listener equals new adapter view. Then after this we give a dot operator and then type on item click listener, and once we have it, the next thing which we do is that we define the code for it. So in order to define the code inside it, the first thing which we need to include is that we need to actually include the view that was clicked. Now in this case we are going to click the list view. So in order to add it, we type public void on item click, and inside the parameters for this we are going to specify a few things. So the first thing is going to be the adapter view. So we type adapter view, then inside these brackets we specify a question mark, then we type list view, then give a comma, again type a view, item view, then we specify the position. So we type int position, and finally we pass in the ID. So we type long ID. So what we have done here is that we have added a few parameters that are going to basically give us an ID. So you might be a little bit confused about these parameters here. So the reason why we have included these parameters is that these parameters are going to give us an idea about which particular item on the list is clicked. So these are the things which we need to have in order to understand which item is being clicked. Now once we have it, we give an opening and a closing curly brace, and inside it we are going to check at which particular position is the item present. So for the first item the position is going to be 0. So in order to check the button click, or in order to check the click for the first option, we type if the position, if this is equal to 0, then in that case what we want to do is that we want to launch a new activity. So in order to launch a new activity, what we do is that we use intent. So we create an object of intent. So we type intent equals new intent. So the first thing which we need to mention is going to be the current activity which we are working with. So that is going to be the main activity. So we type main activity dot this, as we are dealing with current object, and the next thing which we need to mention is going to be the activity which we want to actually launch. So in this case what we want to do is that we want to launch the drink category activity, and this activity is basically not present right now, so we are going to basically create it, but for the sake of this tutorial we are going to name it anyway. So we type drink category activity dot class. So once it is done, the only thing which we need to do now is that we need to actually start the activity. So we type start activity, and in this we are just going to specify the intent. So we type intent over here. So as you could see, it is showing us an error, and that is because we have not yet defined this activity, and we are basically going to go ahead and create this activity immediately so that it resolves the error. And one more thing which we need to take care of is that we should have a semicolon right over here. So now let's go ahead and add this activity right here. So we simply copy the name of this activity, and what we are going to do is that we are going to create a class for this. So we go inside this app folder in the Java folder, and we are going to go right in this first package or the first folder, and we are going to create a new Java class, and we are going to name it as drink category activity, and this is basically going to contain the several choices from which we are going to choose. So we simply select it and click OK, and as you could see, this error right here has been resolved. And one thing which we need to change here is that we are going to name this view as V and not the list view. So make sure that you make relevant changes. Now once everything is done, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to attach the on-click item listener to the list view. So in order to do so, we are going to go right below here, and here we are going to type in some code which is nothing but we are going to basically attach the two things. So we type list view first. So after list view, we are going to name this list view as list view, and we are going to typecast it to list view, and we are going to have a reference to it by using find view by id r.id list options. And once we have a reference to it, basically we are going to add up the item click listener to this list view right here. So we type list view dot set on item click listener, and in the parameters we are going to pass the item click listener. So we type item click listener right over here. So once everything is done, we are good to go, but the thing is that we are still having an error over here at this point, and basically we are going to resolve this error in the next tutorial. So that's it for this tutorial, and in this tutorial we learned how to add an on item click listener to the list, so that whenever one item in the list is clicked or is tapped on, so what happens is that it is actually going to start a new intent. So basically we have added the functionality for that, and in the next tutorial we'll be dealing with this error and why this error actually occurs. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.